No one wants things to happen on the vacation to ruin it. Just like no one wants to be the one in your organization that falls victim to a cyber attack. So on vacation, the sun can be a major bummer. Nobody enjoys a burn and walking around like a crispy lobster for the rest of the week. Just like ransomware. So as you can probably gather from its name, ransomware is when a hacker obtains access to your computer and files, and they then encrypt all of that data and hold it for ransom. And unfortunately, these ransom payments are usually not very cheap, so they cost a lot of money to recover that data. And the worst part is, even if you pay the ransom, you're not guaranteed that you'll get all of your data back. These are most commonly spread by you visiting a malicious website or falling for a phishing scam or maybe downloading a malicious file onto your device. So, with all of that being said, how do we avoid that and avoid falling victim? Well, on the vacation side, SPF. You hear everyone say it. You gotta apply the sunscreen, and not the 8 and the 15. Let's get the 50 and the 70 out. As for ransomware, always proceed with caution when using your computer. So if an email looks fishy, don't interact with it. And we do have a blog that gives you a few tips on what to look out for in a phishing email if you're curious. Also, don't download or interact with attachments in an email that you're not 100% sure is the correct thing, or if you're not expecting that email with attachments, it's better to be safe than sorry and not download anything. And also make sure that you're using the correct websites and you're not accidentally ending up somewhere that a hacker could find you and get a hold of your data. It's super simple to make a very small typo when looking for a web address, which could lead to large damages.
That is right. And while the sun may be more harmful than this next threat, it's still a game stopper, and that is warm drinks on the beach.
No thanks.
And much like that is a game stopper, so is social engineering. So what is social engineering? It's just a way of categorizing cyber attacks that use some sort of human interaction to make their way into their organization. So, these attacks can present themselves in different ways, so that they can be a little difficult to spot if you're not cautious. Just like Michaela said a minute ago, we have lots of blogs about how to spot social engineering so that you can know what these attacks look like and be prepared. But typically, users are tricked into giving up some sort of information, whether it's personal or sensitive to the organization. Once the information is obtained by the hacker, the data is basically at risk. At this point, they can cut off all communication from the original user since they got what they need to finish out their attack. So, what can we do? Well, for the warm drinks, we can really easily make sure that the cooler is stocked with ice. Or you can even freeze water bottles. It's a trick I learned. You could freeze water bottles the night before and put them in ahead of time. And that way you can keep your beach party going. Luckily, you can also avoid a major party foul and not fall victim to attacks by doing things like you hear us say all the time, make sure that your entire team and yourself are up to speed with what current cyber threats look like so that you can spot them and not fall victim. Social engineering attacks are targeted at people to make them feel safe in giving up or letting the cyber criminal in. Another thing that you can do at the organization level or even in your personal life, you can use multi-factor authentication. That is, if something were to go at risk, if credentials were leaked, you still have something in place to stop that kind of that extra security from making sure that you are who you say you are before you're let into the technology. And another thing you've heard us say before, if it looks suspicious, trust your gut. Never click links or open messages or download attachments or anything along those lines if you don't think it's safe. It's much better to be safe than sorry. Take a little extra time. Make sure your drinks are cool and also avoid falling victim to a social engineering attack.
Yes, warm drinks on the beach are the worst. Just like someone yelling shark while you're on the beach. I mean, everyone scatters and it's quite terrifying. Just like using weak passwords is pretty terrifying as well. So let's say you're doing all the right things, you're being cautious when you're checking emails, you're not clicking malicious links, and all the other tips that we've mentioned so far, but you have one password for all of your accounts and it's set as your birthday. Having a weak password can leave you extremely vulnerable to unauthorized access and unauthorized people getting into your account, which can then ultimately lead to data breaches, which, again, just like ransomware, they are not cheap to get out of. So, what do? On the beach side, you watch out for sharks in the water. And if you see a fin, don't go in. I actually recently heard a good tip. You don't necessarily have to be faster than the shark. You just have to be faster than someone else in the water. So, being a strong swimmer can help you out here, just like creating a strong password can help out your business. So, here's a few tips for creating those strong passwords. So, one, don't use the same password for everything. It's pretty self explanatory, but if you have the same password set up for every account, if that password were to get compromised, the hacker then has access to everything that you have an account for. Also, don't use easy to find personal information. So things like your name, your age, birthday, the town you live in, anything along those lines are pretty easy to find, and they're going to be the first guesses that a hacker uses to try and decode your password. Also, keep those passwords private. Don't be that person that writes down your password on a sticky note and leaves it on the top of your desk. I know it makes it super easy to remember, but that also makes it easy for every single person that walks by your desk to have access to all of your stuff. Also, don't share your password with others. So if at some point you need to give your password to someone else, maybe to access an account for a one-time use, it's really wise to go in and change that password once they've completed what needs to be done so that there's no risk afterwards. And also, long, simple passwords are your best bet. So stringing together unrelated word combinations makes it super difficult for a hacker to guess that password since you're not following any sort of typical pattern that a lot of people would likely think of. So, while all of these threats, both on vacation and cyber threats, can seem scary and overwhelming, taking these few precautionary steps and being conscious about how you are doing things on vacation and also using your devices can help save you a lot of valuable time and money. Thanks for joining us today for our summer series on vacation, and we will see you next time.
See you soon.